Hi friends, I'm grateful that you've joined me today for this journey through Holy Week. Let me start by asking a question. Can you think of something that happened on that Tuesday in Jesus' final week? If you can't, don't feel bad. Most people can't, which is interesting because no day receives more attention in the Gospels than Tuesday of Holy Week. But they're not focused on memorable moments near as much as on dialogue, most of it between Jesus and the religious authorities. And that dialogue sets the stage for what will unfold in the days ahead. When we last saw Jesus on Monday, he was slipping out of the temple after ransacking the place and restoring, at least for one day, his Father's house as a place of prayer for all people. Well, as you might imagine, the overseers of the temple didn't take too kindly to Jesus' action. They saw it as an assault on their authority. In fact, they were so infuriated that from that moment on, they began looking for a way to do away with this dangerous rebel. Which makes it all the more amazing that on Tuesday morning, Jesus returns to the temple and starts teaching the people. Why would he come back to the den of those seeking to destroy him? Well, at this point, the temple may have been the only safe place for Jesus. The big crowds gathered in the temple courtyard were mostly on his side. The religious authorities may have hated this Nazarene, but they were more afraid of his popularity with the masses. Somehow, they needed to convince the people to turn on him. And that's when they devised a clever plan. They sent various representatives throughout the day to ask Jesus a series of baited questions. They were hoping to trick Jesus into saying something that they could use to disgrace him with everyone watching. But much to their amazement, Jesus was able to defy every challenge. Rather than making him look like a fool, the authorities were the ones looking dumbfounded. After one failed attempt after another, they decided to give up on their scheme. But now it's Jesus' turn. In a shocking twist, he puts the religious leaders on the hot seat. In Matthew chapter 23, we hear the strongest recorded words Jesus ever spoke. 7 times he says, "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees," and he unveils specific ways in which their religious piety was just a masquerade. Here's one example. "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You shut the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let those enter who are trying to." And Jesus goes on to expose how they elevate keeping their traditions over obeying God, how they obsess over the most minute details of their religious rules, yet they bypass the much larger issues of justice, mercy, and faithfulness, how they spend so much time spit-shining their outward appearance while completely ignoring the pollution of their hearts. Now, I don't know about you, but as I listen to these words, there's something in me that wants to shout, "Way to go, Jesus! It's about time you fought back against those religious bullies. After all, look at all they've put you through. Look at all they're about to put you through." Yeah, Jesus is about to go down, but at least he's going down fighting. But is that really what Jesus is doing? Is he finally giving his adversaries what they deserve? Or is this one final effort by Jesus to fight for peace, for shalom, with his enemies? 7 times in this passage, Jesus tells them, "Woe to you." It's the Greek word ouai, which is an expression not of rage, but of grief. It means to warn sorrowfully. Jesus is less like a judge delivering a guilty verdict and more like a parent pleading with his children to turn from their destructive ways before it's too late. His strong words are pouring out of a broken heart. Then, when Jesus is done delivering these 7 woes, he says in his final words to these authorities that instead of being an executioner bringing down the sword of judgment, he's like a hen trying to gather his wayward chicks under his wing. So in his bold confrontation of his enemies, Jesus is fighting for shalom, salvation, restoration, reconciliation. He's trying to gather a group of wayward leaders back to God. It's one final extension of grace. So what do we learn on this Tuesday of Holy Week from our Shalom Warrior? I hear at least 2 things. First, there is a time to confront. There is a time to speak truth to power. Being a peacemaker doesn't mean staying silent in the face of abuse. But second, our motive should never be to retaliate, but to restore. Not to be an executioner, but in Jesus' words, to be a hen. Because while shalom can't force our enemies to turn from the path they're on, it does offer an open door. And that is how we join Jesus in his battle for shalom, even with our enemies. So at the end of Tuesday, Jesus leaves the temple, never to return. On Wednesday, he will spend a quiet day in the home of a friend, almost too quiet, like being in the eye of a hurricane. Join me tomorrow as we watch the storm clouds close in. Until then, my friend, I leave you with this blessing. May the peace, the shalom of Christ be with you. Amen.